So 7 people in Russia go on a hike and only one of them returns alive.
Yeah, which is crazy because they were led by a very experienced hiker. She actually had the title of Master of Sports in hiking. And so she should have known how to prevent a disaster like this one.
And so there's a lot of theories on what happened to the other 6 that perished on the hiking trail, but we don't know to this day, 30 years later, what happened.
Still a mystery.
The sole survivor has only talked about it once 30 years later.
Yeah. Even her husband didn't know about it.
That's crazy.
Wild.
This is Things I Learned Last Night. This is a comedy podcast where we learn a lot each week, but we also laugh a lot along the way. I think you'll enjoy it. This week's episode is no different. It's great. This was
recommended by one of our members.
Yes.
His name is Keith Y in the Discord. I'm going to call him Keithy for this. Keithy, thanks for the recommendation.
Yeah. So if you want to recommend episodes to us, please join us. You can go to TILLN.com/support. To figure out how to do that. And then also you get next week's episode right now. So thanks for watching the show. We hope you like this episode.
Hey, man.
What's up?
Have you ever heard of Isaac Hirschkopf?
Oh, I live to see another day.
I'm just kidding. We're not covering that. Have you ever heard of the Khamar Daban incident?
Roll the intro. I know we don't do it anymore. I know we haven't put the intro music in forever. Just roll it. Why not? Things I learned last night.
Happy New Year, buddy.
What did you actually say?
Khamar Daban.
Khamar Daban?
Khamar Daban. D-A-B-A-N. Daban.
Golly, you're
Khamar
so annoying.
Daban.
Happy New Year. I thought you'd leave these shenanigans in the past.
2025. It's the year of lies, baby.
Go ahead. That was so rude, dude.
Oh, I got you good there. Yeah, Khamar Daban, Khamar Daban.
Daban.
I have no idea how to pronounce this. And honestly, this is going to be the rest of the episode. This involves a group of characters. I think it's 7 characters. Yeah, 7 characters. You ready to hear their names?
Oh, I know what happens here.
What?
So, Khamar?
Yeah.
Okay, he stumbles into the woods and he meets a witch. And she says, "You're so pretty, Khamar. I love you so much. You're so beautiful. You're the fairest in all the land," right? And he goes back to this little hut and he meets 7 dwarves. And they are like, hi-ho, hi-ho, hi-ho. And I don't remember the rest of the story, to be honest.
So I'm glad you're telling me, yeah.
So I'm glad, I'm just setting it up. And you say what happened next.
Yeah. Now you talk. You talk now.
You go.
So it's,
the often 7... I have to do that to my homeschooled fans when they come to shows, man. Well, I'll do a show and like these kids will come up and they'll be like, "I've been following you since the Chick-fil-A rap." And I'm like, "That's really cool." And they're like, "Yeah, I'm homeschooled." I'm like, "Oh, cool. Thanks for coming to the show." I'm like, "Oh, nah, it's your turn.
Yeah.
You say something."
Speaking of homeschoolers, we found out a really cool secret talent of one of our team members on a patron hangout this week.
Oh, yeah. How Daniel, our community manager.
Yeah, Daniel's our community manager.
Yeah.
We call him Danley Man. He
has an ability to, like, when you show...
He called himself a super recognizer.
That's right.
Is the talent.
That's
super recognizer.
And
he said it like Alex we all would know what it is.
Yeah, you can show him any picture of someone in like prosthetics and makeup and all this stuff, and he could tell you which actor that is.
And he's actually really weirdly good at it.
Like really
We showed him a bunch of pictures, and he would not immediately, but pretty quickly be like, "Oh, that's this guy," and he would get it right 90% of the time.
Pretty wild. So anyway,
yeah, but that's a super recognizer. So if you're a super recognizer, let us know in the comments. Anyways,
if you're a super recognizer and you didn't know this whole time that I've been Frankie Muniz,
He's just been wearing prosthetics. We gear him up every time he comes in. Yeah, that's also why he got ripped. So here's our 7 cast of characters.
Okay.
Let's see how this goes.
Happy,
It is
sleepy, dopey, angry.
so the main one is a woman by the name of Lyudmila Korovina.
Okay.
This is her.
Where does this story take place?
Oh,
Russia.
Russia. Yeah, you nailed that. This takes place in Russia.
She's got the forehead.
Yeah, Lyudmila.
I don't care to
Korovina.
make fun of the Russians. I'll make fun of the Russians all day. You got dumb foreheads. All right?
What?
Nuke me. I'm trying to provoke Putin into nuclear war by making fun of his forehead.
Yeah, your name's
What are
got
you gonna
funny
do about
foreheads.
it? What are you gonna do about it? I shouldn't say that. We did a whole episode about Putin, and then he attacked Ukraine, and so we had to pull the episode. We couldn't pull that episode. We couldn't put the episode out to the world.
But if you want to hear it,
It's available to our members. And it also goes out on the Nothing Bundt Cake email list.
Yeah, you can sign up for that at TILLN.com.
So is she, the Russian names.
So Korovina, she is a hiker and a hiking instructor.
Okay.
And she actually has a title that the Soviet Union would award people called the Master of Sports. So she is an honorary Master of Sports, which I don't know what you have to do to get that.
I do.
She's a Master of Sports in hiking. What's that?
For hiking, you got to do the Berkeley marathons.
But this is Russia. So they shipped him off to the U.S.
In Russia, the Berkeley Marathon does you.
Okay. And so she was a hiking instructor. She would take groups on tourism hikes.
What year are we talking?
So this specific story is 1993.
Okay. Oh, okay. You showed me a black and white picture, so I was thinking earlier.
Yeah, but like yearbooks, you take black and white pictures, right?
Sure.
And so this is a group that she took hiking with her.
She's the second one from the left.
I don't think she is in this picture. I think
Guy
she
on the
took
far
this
left
picture.
looks like one of those kids who's 23 but plays a 14-year-old on Disney Channel.
No, I'll show you the next picture that we have of them. We have these 2 pictures.
Look at that's the witch in Snow White up front. Do you see her hunched up like?
Yeah, so this is the crew that she took on this day. This is August. They depart on August 2nd, 1993.
Okay.
Here's another picture of the group. And in this one of them is just like yoked.
Freaking ripped, dude.
Yeah. Which they look.
That's her though, isn't it?
No,
these are all the people.
Maybe it is her. Yeah, that is her. Because she brought a group of 6. So there's the 6.
That's her.
She's the one
Yeah. She looks like a master hiker right there.
Yeah. And so this group is Lyudmila Korovina. She's the master hiker.
Okay.
And then Tatiana
She's got
Filipenko.
abs for those listening. Like you get like the kind of abs that the shadow casts upon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Most people have
Do
to
you think
airbrush.
she's flexing right there? Or do you think that's that's what I'm saying? That doesn't happen just standing still. She's flexing for this picture.
That is true. Yeah, you're not.
She's
you don't naturally have abs like that. And then Alexander Krisin, Denis Shavakhin, Valentina Udachenko, Victoria Selasova, Timur Bapanov.
Okay.
Nailed them. Feel pretty good about that. Not gonna lie.
Duolingo. Trying to learn Russian.
Yeah.
I have.
What have you been learning?
Just in case.
That's why I'm learning Chinese. We'll be prepared.
Yeah. You and me.
Yeah. We'll have to link up depending on one of us will take point.
Honestly,
depending on which
seems
one.
like they're going to team up together. I don't know how foreign affairs work. Neither of the people in charge.
So on August 2nd, 1993, Korovina, our master of sports, Korovina, she regularly did these hiking trips. She would get a group of tourists together. They would go on hiking trips. She'd take them on these
Why
trips.
don't we have color photos of them? This is 1983.
Yeah, but it's 1993 in Soviet Russia.
Oh, that's actually fair. That's true. Okay.
The very end of Soviet Russia. So they
were still doing white people activities like hiking, you know?
So they went hiking in this area called the Khamar Daban mountain range.
Oh.
Which, if we look in Russia, it's this part of Russia next to a lake called Lake Baikal.
Is this the map from the back of my Bible?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And so here's a kind of a Google Maps view. So you see that lake there.
Yeah.
And then this mountain range there is where this is actually where they're hiking. And so
Okay.
there's a camp near the lake. They're going to hike into the mountain range, up to the top of the mountains and back to the lake is the hike that they're going on. Yeah. And Korovina, very experienced. This trip was going to be a group. There's going to be a group of 3 in the area. She was going to be leading one of them. Her daughter, actually, by the name of Natalia Barnett. No, just by the name of Natalia, is leading another one of the groups. And then another group that is just led by some other hiker, not a master of sports by any means, or related to a master of sports. And there was multiple moments along this hike where, like, obviously they're in separate groups, but they had planned their routes so they would continually intersect with each other and have these meetups, and then they would keep going, and then they'd like
check in with each other.
Yeah, eventually they'd converge together. So yeah, there's natural moments to be like, okay, the other group's not dead. We can keep going. And then maybe they trade pictures or something and be like, look at the rocks I found. And so the trip departs on the 2nd of August, 1993. They leave from the village of Marino and they hike along the river. And day 1 goes by, relatively normal day. Day 2 goes by, relatively normal day. And I should say this is a long hike. This is like a multi-day, maybe even a week-long hike. And through this, they're eating a lot. And so they were eating 4 meals a day. And the reports that I've seen said that they were consuming around 2,400 calories a day, which, that's the face I made too. Because they made a big deal about them eating a lot. But that doesn't seem like a lot.
But also, I don't know how it's relevant yet.
That's fair.
Yeah, you're like, I made the same face because I was like, that doesn't seem like a lot. And I'm like, why do we know how many calories they were eating a day? They come back super fat. They just came back like extreme. Her abs were gone, and they were like, "You made a big deal of it when you left. The whole time you were flexed, and you were like, okay, guys, we're gonna." You sounded so strained, and you were like, "All right, she's got abs. We get it." And you come back, and you look terrible. Not to be mean. I'm not trying to body shame you,
but like,
you don't look good.
You're pretty fat right now. Like, you had to gain like 50 pounds on that mountain.
I'm not trying to be mean.
I'm not trying to be mean, but
how many calories did you eat a day?
How did you gain 50 pounds on a hike?
How did you do that?
What happened on that mountain?
Science needs to know.
They're like, we've been gone for 6 years. We
had a lot of snacks.
There was the only donuts. That was the only thing we could eat there.
I'll tell you what, if I got stuck in a time loop, I think I would just eat a lot of food every day, because I think about that movie.
Groundhog Day?
Nope. Palm Springs on Hulu.
Oh, same concept.
Yeah, but they're at a wedding.
Yeah.
So like I would go so hard on cake because it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's true. You're
not going to feel it the next day.
I mean, every day you still can you can still try to get through it, but it's like in the process, like why not just eat a lot?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Why not just because it doesn't matter?
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. That's how drug addicts start, huh?
Sometimes I think that. Sometimes I have thoughts that I go, oh, I think I've got an unhealthy relationship with food. That's something to bring up to my counselor. I'm gonna bring that up to your counselor this week. I have an appointment with my counselor and I have an appointment with your counselor just to cross-check notes,
Yeah.
I go, hey, so Tim said this week. Did he say something about that to you? Say that? And they go, the whole thing, they go, I can't tell you. And I go, I just read them. I go,
I'm pretty sure.
I ask yes or no questions and I go, your body language.
Yeah. That sounds like a yes. That deflection sounds like a yes deflection. Yeah.
Vámonos. I've got your dogs at the appointment.
I remember that callback.
It was a callback.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Good. It's a treat. Good.
Can you imagine if you actually had trees in your pocket?
Why'd you let it die like that? Why'd you just go?
I just was thinking about it. I was like, man.
Could you imagine you had trees in your pocket? Happy New Year, folks. Another year of this show being garbage.
Another year of this?
Let's run it.
One more year of this?
Just one? In the early days of this show, we did like affiliate ads where we were like, hey, sign up for Grammarly and use code TILLN, and we got like 15 cents. And now we just do Patreon. It's a much better way. It's better for us as creators. It's better for you as listeners. And it's a much more fun way for us to interact. We do monthly hangouts like on Zoom. We just hang out and play games online and get to know each other. It's a really fun time. So, but still use our code TILLN at Grammarly.com because I think it's still active. We might get like a couple cents from that. Yeah. But join us on Patreon because we're having a great time.
Yeah. If you don't, we're going to have to start doing mobile game ads.
Okay, so they are eating 2,400 calories a day.
2,400 calories a day, which to me does not seem like enough because they're going up a mountain.
Well, hold on. In Soviet Russia, 2,400 calories a day.
I mean, I don't know what they were getting before, I guess. Yeah, it's all relative. But still, like if you're going up a mountain.
Yeah, you're burning.
Yeah, I don't feel like this is enough calories for what they're doing personally. But every article I've read acts like this is a lot. Every article I've read acts like they're eating a lot.
They were eating 2,400 calories?
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, eating 2,400 calories while you're walking, kind of a lot maybe.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. It does not seem enough to me. Anyways. And also, I guess...
How many calories are you eating a day? Have you done the math?
I'm not tracking calories right now, but like when I was tracking... What?
I said we can tell.
When I was tracking, I would try to stay under the mountain. I would try to stay under 2,000 a day. You went up the mountain fit. I was trying to stay under 2,000 a day. When I started doing that, that was really hard to stay under. But now I'm like... I bet I'm probably I'm probably coming close to 2,400 a day right now.
I think I'm at 26 right now.
Yeah. I'm not counting right now, but if I had to guess, I'd say I'm probably in that ballpark. Anyways, so they go on this walk, a hike, if you will. Mm-hmm. They hike along the river. They go, they start making it to the mountains, and they're crossing, they cross paths, or they were meant to cross paths with
the other group.
With her daughter's group on August 5th, but they did not show. And so this obviously sparked some alarm. And then 3 days later, Valentina Udchenko is spotted near the river. So she's back. She's spotted. I don't know if we can see that river. You can, I guess.
Up through the hill? Yeah.
No, not that river.
Oh.
She would be like, so if you look at Bekaisik or something like that, go south.
Yep.
There's a river that runs along there.
Oh, okay. So that's what that trail is, I'm sure.
Yeah, so she was spotted by that river.
Okay.
And which is way away from where she was supposed to be. There was a group of kayakers that were kayaking, and they saw her on the shoreline, and she was yelling for help. So they pulled over, and she told them a story. This is the story that she told them. Okay. And so she said that on August 4th, they were making really good time up Retranslator Peak. Nailed it.
That's the town in Cars.
What is the town in Cars? Radiator Springs. Retranslator Peak. Retranslator Peak. They were making really, really good time, and they were beginning their descent. But they got hit with an unexpected rainstorm. And so when this rainstorm hit, Korovina said that it would be best for them to make camp and wait until morning to continue their descent, so that way they don't get hypothermia. But what is peculiar is she said that the location they were, where they decided to make camp, was in a clearing. They didn't go anywhere where they had cover. Like the forest was 10 miles down the path. They could have continued and got into the forest where they could have had a little bit of cover against the rainfall, but instead they camped in a clearing. So they camped in the clearing, wait until morning, and they woke up, they ate breakfast together, and they continued along the path. And so now the storm's gone.
Wake up, they ate about 650 calories together.
Yeah, something like that. And then they continued along the path. And then they were roughly at an altitude of 2,300 meters, so 7,000 feet, give or take. And Christen, which I'm going to use his first name, Alexander Christen, was at the back of the group. And all of a sudden, he started screaming. And so everyone, of course, turns around. And they're like, what are you yelling about? And
Okay.
when they turned around, they found that he was bleeding from his eyes and his ears, and he was frothing at the mouth. And so he fell to the ground, convulsing, and then went still. And so Korovina, our master sports person, important backstory, she saw Alexander as like a son. Like they were really close. Their families were really close. Like
How old is
friends.
she at this point?
She's 41.
Okay.
And so she rushes to his side and she starts like trying to do CPR, trying to save him, you know?
Right.
And then all of a sudden, she starts screaming as well. And then she started also bleeding from her eyes and her ears. And then she fell over convulsing and she passed out and died. And so a moment later, the group starts to kind of go into almost like a panic, because another important thing that I haven't mentioned yet, these are all like 15, 16-year-olds. They're kids.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't mention that. But yeah, so she's the only adult in the group. This is a youth group outing.
Now your adult has died.
Yeah, now your adult's dead over one of the other kids that's dead, in a very graphic way.
Yeah.
And so everyone starts freaking out. And then Filipenko, who was Tatiana Filipenko, I'm having to like cross-reference their names.
Yeah.
She all of a sudden collapsed, grabbing at her throat, saying she couldn't breathe. And she falls over. And then another one of them ran to a nearby rock and started banging her head against the rock until she went limp.
What?
Yeah. And then two other of the students started running away, grasping at their throats, clawing at their own throats, like cutting their throats open like this, and throwing up blood, tearing at their clothes, and things like that. And then Udachenko, she ended up running and ran down the mountain where she set up a tent for the night and camped under a tree for cover. And so she's on her own now. She pretty much left everyone out on the side of that clearing after they all freaked out.
It sounds like they all died anyway.
Well, yeah, the next day she returns back to the site of where this thing happened, and all their bodies are there. No, they're all still there. And for 4 days, she followed power lines down the mountains, and followed these power lines down the mountains, hoping someone would find her. And it was when she found the river on August 9th, where she found a group of Ukrainian kayakers, and they rescued her. And so she tells them what happened, and they're like, oh my God. Like, come with us.
They're like, you killed all these people.
They're like, come with us. We're going to save you. And so they take her back to camp. And when she gets back to camp, though, her demeanor's different. And I don't know if demeanor is the right word. She gets back to camp, and then people at camp are asking her what's happened, and she won't talk to anyone. The kayakers are telling them everything that she told them. And so the kayakers are like, yeah, here's what she told us. And they're like, she's pretty shaken up. She doesn't want to talk about it. And so they can't get a story out of her. And so because no one in the investigators can't get stories out of her, it actually takes them a couple weeks to get a group out to go, like
go where the bodies are.
Yeah, a search party. So on 24th of August is when they finally go out. So she was found on the 9th.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until 15 days later, that they finally go out and search for the body. And it took 2 full days of them searching before they actually found the bodies of everyone. And they did discover the bodies. They did manage to track them down. And when they found them using helicopters. And they found that all of them were partially undressed. All of them had bruised lungs is what they said that they found. They had bruised lungs. Many of them had like scrapes and cuts all over their necks.
So as she described.
Yeah, scrapes and cuts. And many of them, not all of them, but many of them had their eyes like eaten out. And so they think like predators got to them later. But it's strange that they only ate their eyes. So took the bodies, sent them for autopsies. They got the autopsies, and what was determined was that they all died of hypothermia, except for Korovina. She died of a heart attack. And the official report said that it was due to a protein deficiency due to malnutrition. That was the leading factor in them getting hypothermia. And so the official story...
Hypothermia.
Yes, hypothermia is what killed them.
Yeah, but is that what will happen to you?
If you have a protein deficiency?
If you get hypothermia?
Yeah, so that's strange. So the official story that is put out is that they had not been getting enough food for this trip. And so they became protein deficient.
Okay.
And then when they were on their way back down the mountain, they got caught in that rain. They all got wet and cold. They slept in the open where they got more wet and cold. Mm-hmm. They woke up the next day and they continued hiking, and in their protein deficiency, not realizing how bad off they really were.
Yeah.
And then they got hit with hypothermia. And it's described as like a sudden onset hypothermia, but really they just weren't aware of the effects until it became very serious.
Right.
And similar to, we talked about this in the Die Out Loud Pass episode, where there's that paradoxical undressing, where all of a sudden they started feeling the effects and they started freaking out and thinking they were hot and trying to get their clothes off. And that's when things started going awry for them.
Yeah.
The blood from the eyes and ears and the frothing at the mouth is a little strange. The convulsing in that scenario, I guess I could kind of see if you're really freaking out.
The girl banging her head against the rock, though?
Yeah, that's a little crazy. I don't know what that's pretty hypothermic. You're right. And then Korovina, what they say is that was kind of like a broken heart situation. She was scared and freaking out and panic.
Right.
And led to the heart attack. And so obviously a lot of people are like, yeah, that's bogus. That story doesn't make sense, like you're saying. And so there's a lot of theories about what actually happened here.
Okay.
So I do have a map now that we know that they're dead. I didn't want to show you this map until they died because it says 6 hikers died.
Okay. Oh, I see.
So they started along the lake, went on the hike. They took that campsite. Shortly away from that, they all die. And then they were supposed to meet with the other group over there.
Right.
They did not make that meeting. Instead, Valentina, she went down the mountain and was discovered at the river, is where this all happened. So the theories of what happened. The most likely theory, aliens.
Obviously.
Aliens have been proposed that, I don't know, they showed up and they did it, I guess.
Oh, you're really going for it.
That is a real theory. That is a real theory that the aliens showed up and they did it.
Obviously.
And like, I don't know the idea there. Another one is the Almas. Have you heard of that?
The what?
The Almas.
No.
Let me see if I can actually get a picture of Almas. This is an interesting.
Is this going to scare me?
I don't think so. All right. So this is the Almas.
Ah!
It's Bigfoot. It's Russian Bigfoot.
Okay.
Which, that reminds me. Have you heard of what the Mormons think Bigfoot is?
Wait, what?
Have you heard of what the Mormons think Bigfoot is? Do you know the Mormons have an explanation for Bigfoot? Do you know what their explanation is?
I know the Mormons think Satan and Jesus are siblings, right?
Yeah, they're brothers. They're homies. But like, not the good kind of brothers. They're like brothers who had a falling out.
Yeah, not bros.
Yeah. And that's why they're competing for everyone's souls.
Who do they think? When you say Mormons, you mean like
the Mormon
Latter-day
Church,
Saints?
LDS. Yeah.
They think Bigfoot is who?
They think Bigfoot is Cain. Like Cain and Abel, Cain. And that was because he did the murder. He doesn't get to die. He's stuck roaming the earth.
Roaming the hills of Pennsylvania?
As Bigfoot.
What?
So this is Cain. So Cain could have done it.
Honestly, let's ask Ken Ham. What does Ken Ham have to say?
What does he think? Is this Cain?
That's real. Where does it say that?
I don't know if it says it anywhere. It's just like a wives' tale on the Mormon church.
Like, oh yeah, that's Cain.
That's Cain.
That's Cain. And really, honestly, it was said by someone who was talking about WWE's Cain.
Yeah, you might be right.
Look what he's doing now. WWE's Cain. Because I think I remember, if I remember this correctly, when you Google this, you're going to be like, wait, what?
This just says, Cain hasn't been on TV in a few years, parentheses, because he's doing corporate stuff in real life. What is he doing?
On Wikipedia?
No, it's on some other site. Wikipedia was...
What's his actual name? Click his actual name.
Glenn Thomas Jacobs.
Yeah, look up Glenn Thomas Jacobs. See what Glenn Jacobs is doing.
Jacobs. Mayor of Knox County, Tennessee.
He's the mayor.
Yikes.
He's a politician now. Isn't that awful?
Oh, that's great. Good for him, I guess. I don't know. Well, depending on what he says, I don't know enough about him to say good for him.
Hey, I'm going to tell you right now.
Bad for him. Bad for us. Bad for us. Okay, so
it's Knox County, Tennessee, bro. You think he's out here being like, we need public transportation. Let's fight to decriminalize these parking tickets. Nah, bro. Nah, he's...
Yikes. Okay. It could have been aliens. The aliens could have been like, oh, you're in our stuff. And it could have been Cain.
Could have been Cain.
It could have been
either
Cain.
from the Bible or WWE fame.
WWE.
It could have been the mayor of Knox County, Tennessee. Honestly, that's Bigfoot country.
Yeah. Obviously, hypothermia, the leading theory.
Obviously.
I shouldn't say a theory. Another theory is a military experiment. And so this is kind of a dark one. The theory here is that Korovina was a Russian agent, and she would take hikers.
Like, see how many you can kill.
Well, she would take hikers and she would experiment on them with different
injections, and ointments,
secretive weapons, and see how they respond.
Yeah, but she had one little sound bomb thing that did a high pitched noise, and she called in. She goes, "Is it supposed to have a green light on?" And they were like, "No," and she's like, "Okay, I will not detonate it."
Why does she talk like a bear?
Because she sounds like this. She's a Russian agent.
Okay, and so
Nelly Louvs.
So she was. This was the first one where they actually killed somebody, and so she had been doing this, and like people were coming back with rashes, and they were like sick, but they were never died. And then now all of a sudden, this is the one where a bunch of people died, and then it got out. And she accidentally killed herself too. So that one's a little strange. Another one that's a little similar is that they came across a military installation or experiment, and they were all killed because of what they saw. And for some reason,
they let the girl go.
The girl got away, and then this all went public, and everyone knew exactly who she was.
The girl later became super rich, and then she made a superhero suit, and she started doing vigilante justice. And the person that killed all of their campers was also a psychopath. Villain.
Yeah. Is this the story of The Incredibles?
Yes. Incredibles 2. Where they famously all die. It's on the ride.
It's on the ride.
Yeah, where do they? Woo! Oh, this is the part where they die.
This is the part where they all die.
Upside down.
It's like a universal ride. It's like, great job. Everyone's dead.
You killed everyone.
Oh my God. You killed them. They're on the
I like a choose adventure where you choose the wrong stuff. And they're like, whoa there, partner. Seems like you're killing your whole group.
Seems like you killed everybody, you psycho.
Bang.
Bang, bang. Hey, thanks for checking out this episode. If you like it, there is some great news for you. We have a mailing list. In that mailing list, we give updates on past episodes. So things in the news, things that happen for episodes. We've got over 200 episodes we've done. And every week, things are changing. New updates are coming out. And we're keeping you up to date on what's happening in the happenings of TILLN Topics. So if you want to keep learning stuff, even beyond the content of the episodes, that's a great place to do it. Also, we give updates on things that's happening in the TILLN verse. I like that. I've never said TILLN verse before, but I'm sticking with it. If you want to know what's happening in the TILLN verse, that's the best place to do it. You can go to TILLN.com. There's a link in the description, or you can text TILLN to 66866. There's a lot of ways to sign up for the mailing list to make sure you keep up to date with everything that we've talked about and everything that's going on in the TILLN verse. But anyways, now back to this episode. Another theory is that it was contaminated water. Here's the thing. Lake Baikal, that big lake right there, was known to be a toxic waste dumping ground for the Russian Federation. They just dumped all their toxic waste there. Obviously, they weren't at the lake, but the rivers coming downstream from it could have been contaminated. They got their water from that.
Sure.
And that poisoned them. Again, Rudchenko, she was not affected by this. Why wouldn't she be affected by this?
Yeah, and also the other gal was like a master hiker.
Yeah, you would think she would know that this lake right here is toxic.
Right.
So maybe we should bring our own water, bring some cases of water.
And if we got enough room for all this food.
Yeah, 2,400 calories a day. Another theory is mushroom poisoning, that they gathered some mushrooms, which here's the thing. Korovina was known to be a forager. She would forage on her hikes. And so they said maybe she made a mistake, didn't realize she was grabbing some poisonous mushrooms, mixed it with the food of all of the hikers except for Udachenko. She got lucky.
She didn't like mushrooms.
She's like, no thanks. I don't want any mushrooms. Yeah. She said, honestly, it's pretty gross to me that you're eating stuff from the ground. And she's like, everything comes from the ground.
She's like, no, that's not true.
She's like, no, not the stuff we eat.
Not this bird I killed. This thing coming from the sky. I only eat food from up there. Okay.
Where did you get that? Oh, I killed it.
But I don't eat ground chicken.
She's
got the word ground in it.
Ground. I never eat anything ground.
And it's been on the ground.
Yeah, that means it's been on the ground. She's just sitting there. Everyone's at breakfast eating their porridge around the fire, and she's out on the edge of camp just throwing rocks at birds.
And honestly, nailing them.
Nailing them.
Two birds, one stone. You know, she freaking
ding, ding, ding. It's like ping pong. I brought bird. Anybody want bird?
Why are you talking like that?
I brought bird.
I get bird.
Hello, camp. I bring bird.
Hello, camp. I brought bird.
And they're like, they're gonna kill us. We can't eat. You can't eat that raw.
She's decapitating him.
Bites the head off of them.
In Soviet Russia, food from up there, good.
Not the food from down there.
We're going to cancel for this, I think. They're going to nuke us for this. Putin, I dare you to nuke me. Put that on YouTube.
Another theory is that the symptoms described by Udachenko, they're actually very familiar or similar to the kind of death or the symptoms that you hear from nerve agents. The theory is that this is a toxic nerve agent that they were exposed to, most likely Novichok, which was a Soviet-developed nerve agent in the 80s that was used until 1993 when it was suddenly removed from regular use, and it was actually considered to be one of the deadliest nerve agents to ever exist.
How would they come in contact with it?
Well, it was actually used in this area. It was tested in this mountain range. And what they said is for years that
tested. Who did they test it on? The trees?
I don't know. I don't know what they would test it on. I don't know. But what they did say is that they said that in this area, I don't remember the verbiage that they used here. It was they called it an ancient curse because they had tested it in this area, and they said that when you walked through the area, you could disturb the soil, and it would release that chemical back into the air. And so the phrase is you could step on it and it would liquefy trespassers, is the phrase that they used in this article. So I don't know what that means. But again,
so probably that then.
But again, what's strange is Udachenko was not affected by it
she's
at
eating
all.
Protein of the birds.
She's not protein deficient.
Yeah.
She was eating all this.
You guys have tree nuts and porridge. I have meat.
I've been eating birds all week. Like, have you ever done this in your life? No. The nature called me.
I just came out here. I just followed my instincts.
I just followed my instincts.
I saw a bird.
I saw a bird. I said I should throw a rock at that. And then I tried it. I tasted it. I'm never going back. We're not going to eat real food ever again. Remember in college when
you barking at a squirrel, you barking at a bird, you just being like, has reminded me of a time in college. You remember in college? You remember when you were in 6th grade? What the heck, dude?
No, but you remember that in college when we would all go to Chopsticks.
Oh, when Reagan and Stevie sat next to us in psychology, and they walked in, and then we were both
holding birds.
You're like, I brought birds.
I brought birds.
And we were like, why don't these girls like us?
One for me, one for you.
Me bring bird.
Me bring bird.
She's like, give that to my dad, not me. And we're like, oh, it's traditional. Huh?
Yeah, the next class, she came in and she said, I bring police.
I bring security. It's fair. I'll move.
That's fine. I'll sit somewhere else.
I'll go to Missouri State. No.
Yeah, they let you bring birds to class there.
No, that was definitely, that was like some, what was the hard work you? College of the Ozarks.
That is College of the Ozarks for sure.
That's College of the Ozarks behavior. I killed bird. Good. Keep doing that.
Kill bird. So no, in college, we would go to Chopsticks. Mm-hmm. Long live. And Josh didn't like Chopsticks. So Josh would go next door to Subway and he'd bring his Subway to Chopsticks. And he'd sit at the table in Chopsticks and eat his Subway there. It's the same thing. It's you're like, everyone's eating their stuff.
Everyone else is eating.
I'll bring my bird.
The most glorious and perfect Chinese food that's ever been created and gifted us for a short period of time when we were in college, only to be taken from us, ripped from our hands in the spring of 2014. But
due to the government. Never forget, it was the government's
They get deported?
Well, they couldn't renew their work visas. So I guess technically, yeah. I don't think they got deported. I think they preemptively left.
You know, was that last year? Did we call him on the podcast?
Yeah, we did. I don't think it was last year. We were here.
That's right. Which episode did we call Chopsticks? You remember? And we called Chopsticks' sister.
Yeah, that's right.
And we found out they're in Australia.
Yeah. Long live.
We got to go. Tony and Michelle. Anyway, Tony and Michelle, if you ever hear this,
we miss you.
Orange chicken, medium spicy. Don't.
Oh gosh, I missed that place. Anyways, so it could have been the nerve agents.
Yeah, it could have been the nerve agents.
Here's the thing though. Yudachenko, she gets discovered. She tells the hikers what happened, or the kayakers what happened. She goes home. She's not talking about it. She leaves. She doesn't talk about it for decades.
Oh, she murdered him.
She marries someone else. And there's a reporter.
She was married. Maybe she married somebody else. She wasn't married to someone on the trip.
She wasn't married.
She married somebody else. Can you believe that? She moved on. What are you talking about? She gets married. And then years later, a reporter tracks her down because the reporter's trying to get to the bottom of this story. Yeah. The reporter tracks her down, finds her. She very famously doesn't talk to anybody about this ever. The reporter tracks her down. The reporter somehow gets her to agree to let her come inside and tell her her story. I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about something else.
And so she
what do you want to talk about? You won. You won a spelling bee in the third grade, right?
Third grade, right?
And she's like, I think so.
Maybe.
We're interviewing the winners of that spelling bee. So, a couple quick questions. Could you spell your name?
Can you spell your name?
Killing it. Great. Could you spell nerve agent for me?
Great. Oh, yeah. Weird question. I can spell that.
What happened to the other 6 in your group?
Do you want me to spell that or?
You can. H-E-M.
H-E-M-A-D-E-D-O-I-D.
I lost
What's that
it.
spell?
Well, I didn't even know what you're spelling. What did you spell?
I said he made me do it.
Oh, I was like, what are you talking
He
about?
made me do it.
Cain.
Cain.
C-A-I-N.
Cain came to my tent in the middle of the night and told me to kill them. He said it'd be funny. He said it was funny.
He said
when
it'd
he
be
did
funny. He said it'd be funny.
It wasn't funny.
Hey.
Oh my God! Is it a gorilla?
Hey, wake up.
Is that a gorilla?
I'm a biblical figure.
I'm not a gorilla. I promise.
Hey, shut up. Listen. Wouldn't it be funny? You know, it'd be really funny. You know, it made me laugh a lot. If you killed this entire group of people, you know, it'd be funny. And she's like, if we put all their hands in warm water and made them pee that's also pretty funny. But what you should do is you should ruthlessly kill all these people.
That'd be so funny if you did that.
I will do it for the bit.
I gotta be honest, I didn't get the bit.
When I told those kayakers and they didn't laugh, I was like, oh no, am I in trouble?
They're like, here's what we're gonna tell them. You say you don't talk. Don't ever tell anybody. We'll tell them something else.
The way you're telling the story, you're smiling and laughing, and you're like, so I killed him, right?
It was funny.
And the way you should never do that.
Tell anyone that ever again.
Here, hop in her kayak.
Here's the thing. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna tie you to the side of my kayak.
Yeah, you just float behind.
Kind of like a gator I just killed.
This water isn't very. Don't drink the water.
Yeah, you shouldn't drink the water.
So she gets the interview.
Yeah, she gets the interview. And in the interview, while doing the interview,
Yeah.
the reporter recounts that her husband doesn't know this story yet. This is the first time her husband finds out about this. He didn't even know that she was on a hike like this. Like, he had never heard any of this.
He didn't know the case at all.
Yeah, he had no idea that anything even remotely similar to this ever happened to her.
Okay, imagine a reporter comes to your home.
Yeah.
And is like, hey, is your wife here? And you're like, she's married, dude.
It's like, at least bring birds.
Yeah.
If you're
have bird?
Do you have bird? Come on.
Come on. And then the reporter is like, there's this pretty significant event
Yes.
in your wife's background.
And he's like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Like the day she met me?
You're doing an article about. That's fun. It was a real blind date. It's crazy, and we had never met before. And anyway.
I'm gonna stop you right there. We don't care about you. There's something else going on here. We're pretty sure your wife met Cain.
Like the mayor of Knox County, Tennessee.
No,
he is also eternal.
Yeah, no, not that one.
Oh, okay.
Like Cain of Cain and Abel fame. Have you read the Bible, sir?
Oh, sorry. I thought Cain and Abel was that the apothecary store downtown.
Anyways, so
They sell candles and stuff.
she tells the story for the first time.
Yeah.
Here's what's interesting. When she tells this story back, it's different.
Okay.
And when she tells the story back, the first kid bleeds from the eyes and everything and dies. Corvino comes back, tries to save him, has a heart attack and dies. But then the group gets together and says, we need to try to make it down the mountain. So they leave them and they all move together. And then later it happens to another one of them. And then that's when they start freaking out. And one of them runs and bangs their head on a rock. Another one hides under a tree and dies under a tree. And then she's left alone. And so a very similar story.
But different.
But different. And so another theory is that she did it either by mistake or on purpose, and has hidden it all this time.
Okay.
But that's never been discovered. The official report was hypothermia. And that's kind of where it lies. And the last theory is like the sound burst, which is the same thing that we hear from Dyatlov Pass, the Katabatic wind.
Right.
And basically what happens is this wind that can come over the mountain and it creates almost this sonic boom, but it's like too low. The frequency is too low for us to hear. Yeah. And then the pressure basically blows you up from the inside, I guess.
Okay, but why wouldn't that affect her?
Again, yeah. The question in all of these is, why is she fine?
Yeah.
Like, why does she survive out of everyone in this?
Yeah.
And so the 2 or 3 that I think you probably could explain away, or maybe the nerve agent if somehow she ended up not getting exposed. Mm-hmm. Mushrooms, if she didn't eat the mushrooms. Hypothermia, if maybe she didn't get wet, but I don't know how she does it in the storm. Maybe if she had an umbrella or she was wearing different clothes or something, and she ended up being okay. I don't know how she could do that. Or she did it. I don't know what else. Like everything else, I feel like she should have been affected by it, and it should have also at least hurt her. But
like
none of
zero
it did.
effects.
Yeah. So I'm not really sure what happened there.
Also, I feel like now we have the technology to, test her blood and her system and see, if she's had any long-term effects from those kind of,
from a nerve agent or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because she's only 45, 40, she's 45 to 50?
Yeah, she's not old.
She's still around.
Yeah, she's still floating around out there.
We could interview her.
Maybe. Well, I mean, what are we? Just a couple of dirty Americans.
No, on the phone, we're not. On the phone, we can be anybody we want to be. Hi. We
can ship her a couple birds.
Hey.
she opens up her mail one day to find 3 birds.
What's her name
birds.
again? Hey, Ocho Cinco.
Unachenko.
Hey, Ocho
Hey,
Cinco.
it's me, the guy who sent you the birds.
Joe Biden. President.
It's even worse.
I was just calling to say, hey, what really happened up there?
What really happened up
My
there?
dying wish is to
know what happened. I promise I won't tell.
I'm not going to tell nobody.
I'm not going to tell it. I'm not
That's a
gonna
fact,
tell.
Jack.
I'm not going to tell. This is a secret between you and me, Udachenko.
Hey, listen.
Listen.
I'm telling you the truth.
So yeah, that's the Khamar Daban incident.
Khamar Daban incident. I could be saying that wrong. It might be Khamar Daban, Khamar. I don't know. But we have no idea what happened. I mean, it was probably she probably did
Bigfoot. It was probably the Bigfoot.
Oh, something happened. Something tragic happened to you when you were a teenager, and no one else in your group.
Might be your fault.
Sounds like you did it.
It could be you.
Wow.
She did just put out a book called "If I Did It."
I will say though, we don't know if she did this incident in the woods. But we do know that she killed Andy Goose.
We know for
I got bird. That's not us pointing to the sky.
That's
Hey, can we put like a rest in peace Andy Goose as the Fiddle Off? Just do like a rest in peace Andy Goose with the years that he lived.
Years he lived, gone but not forgotten. I love that.
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode of Things I Learned Last Night. This podcast is an Evergreen Podcast Network show. If you want to see the other shows that they work with, check out evergreenpodcasts.com. Now, if you like that episode and you want more like it, we did an episode called Dyatlov Pass, which we referenced a lot in this episode. The Dyatlov Pass is another Soviet Russia mountainscape where a lot of hikers perished, and they're really not sure to this day what happened. And if you want next week's episode right now, you can go to TILLN.com/support. You don't even have to wait. You can just get it right now. And it's a way to help fund the show and make more episodes possible and bring more content like this to you every single week. So thank you for being here. We'll see you next week on Things I Learned Last Night.